Namatay ang 14 na tao matapos masunog ang tinitirhang apartment building sa Hanoi, Vietnam.
Ayon sa ulat ng bombero, nagmula ang apoy sa garahe ng gusali kung saan ay bentahan ng mga electric bikes. Ang detalye ng balita ibabahagi maya-maya.
Chính là nhà ở gia đình kết hợp cho thuê trọ. Công trình cho thuê trọ là dễ.
Magandang gabi, ako po si Ricky Mathay.
At ako si Nina Richie Alagaw Flores. Ito ang mata ng Agila International para naman sa mga headlines ngayong Biyernes ng gabi.
Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. bibisita sa Brunei at Singapore sa susunod na linggo.
Ilang lugar sa bansa isinailalim sa Storm Signal number 1 dahil sa bagyong Aghon.
Taiwan on high alert sa gitna ng military drills ng China sa paligid ng isla.
At landslide sa Papua New Guinea kumitil ng nasa 100 buhay.
And celebrity star power bumida sa White House State Dinner para sa Kenya. Bibisita si Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. sa Brunei, Darussalam para sa isang state visit at sa Singapore naman para sa Defense Summit sa susunod na linggo.
Ipinahayag ni Department of Foreign Affairs o DFA spokesperson Maria Teresita Daza na tutung ang Pangulo kasama si First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos sa Brunei mula May 28 hanggang May 29 sa imbitasyon ni His Majesty Sultan Haji Hassan al-Bolkiah Muizzadin wa Daula. Tutungo naman sila sa Singapore sa May 30 hanggang 31 sa International Institute for Strategic Studies o IISS sa Shangri-La Dialogue. Kakamustahin din ng Pangulong nasa higit 20,000 mga Filipino sa Brunei. Malakas na business at regional partners ang Pilipinas at Brunei dahil ang dalawang bansa ay parehong miyembro ng Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation o APEC at ASEAN o Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Samantala sa Singapore naman nakatakdang magbigay ng keynote address ang Pangulo bilang pagbubukas ng 21st IISS Shangri-La Dialogue.
Sa iba pang balita, naniniwala si Senate Majority Floor Leader Francis Tolentino na lumabag sa anti-wiretapping law ang Chinese diplomat na nakipag-usap kay Western Command Chief Vice Admiral Alberto Carlos. Sa isang pahayag, sinabi ni Senador Tolentino, I believe he is telling the truth. Vice Admiral Carlos is an honorable soldier, a graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy. We trust his testimony. The investigation, as per the resolution I filed, is focused on whether wiretapping occurred, and if it did, it constitutes a violation of Philippine laws, and that is where I am focused. Ayon sa Senador, kinilala ang naturang diplomat na si Senior Colonel Lee. Sinabi naman ni Tolentino na pina-authenticate pa sa National Bureau of Investigation o NBI ang audio recording ng umano'y wiretapping ng Chinese diplomat. Ipinunto naman ng Senador na posible kasing deepfake din ito. Hinimok din ni Tolentino ang Department of Foreign Affairs o DFA na simulan na ang proseso para ideklarang persona non grata ang naturang Chinese diplomat, gayon din ang pag-expel dito.
Inanunsyo ng Toll Regulatory Board o TRB na hindi makakasama o exempted sa toll increases ang mga trucks na nagkakarga ng mga agricultural products simula Hunyo 1. Ayon kay TRB Executive Director Alvin Carullo, makikinabang dito ang nasa 300 na mga agricultural trucks na gumagamit ng mga expressway patungong north at south ng Metro Manila araw-araw. Para maging qualified, ang mga truck ay dapat accredited ng Department of Agriculture at maaari din mag-apply ng accreditation ang mga Class 1 at Class 2 ng mga sasakyan. Makakatanggap din ng rebate sa mga trucks matapos magpatupad ng taas singil sa toll noong Hunyo ng nakaraang taon. Makukuha lamang ang rebates at exemptions kapag mayroong valid na auto sweep o RFID account.
Nanawagan po ang Department of Education o DepEd sa mga lokal na pamahalaan sa Pilipinas na huwag nang gamitin bilang mga evacuation centers ang mga pampublikong paaralan sa tuwing may kalamidad. Hiniling ito ng DepEd sa gitna ng inaasahang papalapit na panahon ng tag-ulan. Paliwanag ni Education Undersecretary Michael Poa, malinaw ang posisyon ng kanilang ahensya sa kasagsagan ng naging pagpupulong ng National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council hinggil sa usaping ito. Dagdag pa niya na layunin ng kanilang kahilingan na tiyaking hindi magagambala ang pag-aaral ng mga estudyante tuwing panahon ng tag-ulan. Kaugnay po nito, ipinunto rin ni POA na ang polisiyang ipinatutupad ng DepEd ay pinahihintulutan lamang ang isang local government na gamitin ang mga paaralan bilang emergency evacuation center sa loob ng 15 araw. Samantala, nagpapatuloy pa rin ang ginagawang paghahanda ng pamahalaan ukol dito at sa mga banta na maaaring idulot ng paparating na panahon ng tag-ulan.
Asahan na ang dagdag bawas sa presyo ng mga produktong petrolyo sa susunod na linggo. Sa pagtataya ng Department of Energy Oil Industry Management Bureau, aakyat ng 45 sentimos hanggang 65 sentimos ang presyo ng kada litro ng gasolina. 35 hanggang 55 sentimos naman ang asahang magiging dagdag sa presyo kada litro ng diesel. Habang ang kerosene ay nasa 45 sentimos hanggang 60 sentimos ang posibleng rollback sa kada litro.
Mas bababa na po sa minimum operating level ang Angat Dam. Ang water level dito na bumaba ng hanggang 179.68 meters, mas mababa ng 0.39 meters mula sa minimum operating level na 180. Bukod dito, napaulat din na patuloy ang pagbaba ng water level sa iba pa mga dam sa bansa, katulad ng La Mesa Dam na nasa 75.13 meters, San Roque Dam na nasa 226.86 meters at Caliraya Dam na nasa 286.26 meters. Ito ay dulot ng kakaunting pag-ulan na nararanasan sa mga watershed ng mga dam kasabay ng epekto ng El Niño phenomenon. Samantala, nakitaan naman ang bahagyang pagtaas ng level ng tubig ang mga Ipo, Ambuklaw, Binga, Pantabangan at Magat Dam. Gayunpaman, patuloy pa rin ang paalala ng mga kinauukulan sa publiko na magtipid sa pagkonsumo ng tubig.
Isinailalim sa Storm Signal number 1 ang ilang lugar sa bansa dulot ng bagyong Aghon sa silangang Visayas. Ayon sa Pag-asa, ang mga lugar na sumusunod ay nasa Signal number 1. Quezon, Sorsogon, Albay, Catanduanes, Camarines Sur, Camarines Norte, Masbate, Ticao Island, Burias Island, Eastern Samar, Samar, Northern Samar, Leyte, Southern Leyte, Biliran, Cebu, Camotes Islands, Bantayan Islands, Bohol, Dinagat Islands, Surigao del Norte, Siargao, Bukas Grande Islands, Surigao del Sur, Agusan del Sur, Agusan del Norte. Namataan ng bagyo o mata ng bagyong Aghon sa layong 145 kilometers silangan ng Surigao del Norte dakong alas 8 ng gabi. Mayroon itong lakas ng hangin na 55 kilometers per hour at 70 kilometers per hour na bugso ng hangin. Kumikilos ito pakanluran hilagang kanluran na may bilis na 20 kilometers per hour. Susunod, Taiwan nakaantabay sa military drills ng China.
Space weapon ng Russia napadaan sa kurso ng isang US satellite.
At Foreign Minister ng Israel, ipinatawag ang ambassador ng ibang bansa. Yan at iba pang mga balita sa pagbabalik po ng Mata ng Agila International.
This
Viral ngayon, Lola
na namamalimos para sa graduation ng kanyang apo. Ating nirespondihan.
Naglalakad ako sa init ng araw. Araw-araw akong nangmamalimos para makaraos.
Exclusive! Bagong batch ng beneficiaries ng Responding Ka-Kings. Kilalanin.
Malaking tulong. At saka, ramdam ko yung lakas na ibinibigay ng King Sir.
Isa pang exclusive, bagong modus sa Facebook Marketplace. Isisiwala. Sabado, alas 6 hanggang alas 7 ng gabi. Ito ang Responde. Mata ng mamamayan.
Let's get together. Sunday 25. Sunday 25.
Sigaan po namin. Tapos 2 araw po bago maluto. Pagkatapos po namin maluto, ihango po namin. Dala po yung pala at saka yung pangkawit.
Sige, madali. Kaya? Yun yun. Tapos,
Ay, talaga! Grabe! Nararamdaman mo talaga yung bigat sa likod, saka sa leeg.
Let's get together. Sunday 25. Sunday 25.
This portion is brought to you by 318 Automart.
Muling tumataas ang kaso ng COVID sa Pilipinas. Subalit nilinaw po ng Department of Health o DOH na nananatiling nasa low-risk category ang bansa. Paliwanag ng World Health Organization o WHO, ang isang bansa o lugar ay masasabing nasa low-risk category kung ang pagtaas ng mga kaso ng COVID sa huling 2 linggo ay 0 o mas mababa pa. Batay sa huling datos ng DOH, mula May 17 to May 13 ay may 877 na bagong kaso ng sakit ng COVID. 7 ang naitirang severe at critical cases, samantalang 5 naman ang nasawi. At kung ikakumpara naman natin ang daily cases ng COVID, nasa 125 lamang ang sa Pilipinas. Kung kaya't masasabing mas mababa po ito kumpara sa bilang ng Singapore na nasa 3,700 ang average ng COVID cases kada araw. Pero hindi porket wala pang naitatalang kaso ng flirt variant sa bansa ngayon at nananatili pa rin tayo sa low-risk category ng COVID cases ay dapat na tayong maging kampante. Bakit kanyo? Ito ay dahil sa hindi pa rin natatapos ang banta ng COVID sa Pilipinas. Sa katunayan, walang tigil ang COVID virus sa pag-mutate. Ayon nga po sa US Centers for Disease Control and Prevention o CDC, ang flirt virus strain na siya ring pinakabagong variant ng COVID-19 ay ang dominant coronavirus ngayon sa Estados Unidos. Batay sa monitoring ng CDC mula noong April 11 to 27 ay hindi bababa sa 16% ng mga bagong kaso ng COVID sa US ay dahil sa flirt virus. Tumaas pa ito ng halos 30% noong April 28 to May 11. Subalit, ano nga po ba itong flirt o KP.2 COVID-19 variant na sinasabing nakakaapekto sa Estados Unidos, sa Singapore at sa iba pang mga bansa? Paliwanag po ng WHO, ang earliest sequence ng COVID-19 virus na Wuhan 1 ay naitala noong December 24, 2019. Ito ay na-displace ng Alpha variant na sinundan naman ng Beta, Gamma, Delta at Omicron variants. So tatandaan niyo po ba yun? Nanggaling ang BA.2.86 sa Omicron variant, samantalang ang JN.1 naman ay descendant ng BA.2 0.86. Matatandaang ang parehong variants ay itinuring na variant of interest ng WHO. Nanggaling naman sa JN.1 ang JN.1.18, KP.3 at KP.2 of flirt COVID virus. Kasalukuyan minomonitor ng WHO ang tatlong nasabing variants na ito dahil sila ay galing sa mga variants of interest na nabanggit natin kanina o mga strains na nakakabahala dahil mabilis itong kumalat. Kung kaya't hinikayat ng DOH ang mga doktor, clinics at hospitals na kaagad i-report sa kanila kung may mga pasyenteng nagpositibo sa virus na ito. Pakinggan po natin.
FL small I, tapos capital RT. Yung katagaan na yan, nanggaling yan, meron kasi isang researcher na napansin niya yung mga mutation dun sa spike protein ng variant KP.1 at KP.2. Yun yung tamang pangalan KP1 saka si KP2. Yung kanilang mga mutation ay nagbago yung amino acid na phenylalanine or ang shorthand niya is letter F at naging leucine which is the letter L sa position 4, 5, 6. Tapos yun namang arginine sa position 3, 4, 6. Arginine kasi ang letter niya is R, naging threonine na ang letter niya ay T. So meron kang 4 na letters, F, L, R, T. Tapos silagyan niya ng maliit na letter I sa gitna.
So it's contagious but it's not virulent, that doesn't kill. Kasi wala pa silang reported deaths. Right? Maybe it's nothing to worry about. So, or maybe it will just die down.
Ang mga sintomas ng flirt virus ay kagaya rin po sa mga naunang COVID-19 variants. Ito ay ang sipon, baradong ilong, sore throat, pananakit ng ulo, labis na pagkapagod, pananakit ng katawan, ubo, lagnat o chills, pagkahilo at pagsusuka, pagdudumi, kawalan ng panlasa o pangamoy, at syempre hirap po sa paghinga. Ayon sa ilang health experts, dapat ay epektibo daw pa rin ang mga existing vaccines laban sa flirt COVID virus. Well, supposedly. Subalit, naglabas ang CDC ng guidance na dapat ay muling magpabakuna ang mga taong nakatanggap na ng COVID vaccine noong 2023. Paliwanag po ng DOH, may mga bagong bakuna na akma sa mga bagong variants ng COVID-19 o yung mga tinatawag na reformulated vaccines. Subalit, ang problema, wala pa nito sa Pilipinas. Kung kaya't, hinikayat ng DOH sa mga manufacturers ng bakuna na mag-apply na ng Certificate of Product Registration sa Food and Drug Administration upang wala na maging problema sa paggamit ng COVID-19 vaccines. Matatandaang ang mga bakunang ginamit sa bansa noong kasagsagan ng pandemya ay sa pamamagitan ng Emergency Use Authorization lamang. Expired na po ang authorization na ito nang bawiin ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. ang deklarasyon ng Public Health Emergency. Kung sakaling tamaan ng flirt COVID virus, subalit wag naman sana, kailangan bang mag-isolate o magsuot ng face mask? Ang sagot, kailangang mag-isolate at magsuot pa rin ng face mask. Kahit na nga tinanggal na ng CDC ang 5-day isolation requirement, ay nagpayo ito sa sinumang dadapuan ng COVID virus na manatili lamang sa loob ng bahay at magpagaling upang hindi naman makahawa ng iba. Magsuot ng face mask, uminom ng gamot at panatilihing hydrated ang inyong katawan. Kumain din ng mga masusustansyang pagkain, lalo na mga gulay at mga prutas, at syempre magpahinga. Yan ay ilan lamang sa mga payo ng mga doktor na dapat gawin kung magkasakit dahil po sa flirt virus. Subalit, paalala ng DOH, walang dapat katakot kahit mabilis na kumalat ang flirt COVID variant dahil hindi naman umano ito nakamamatay. Dagdag pa ng DOH, hindi pa dapat magpatupad ng travel restrictions sa bansa dahil wala namang siyentipikong dahilan para gawin ito sa ngayon. Patuloy ding makipag-ugnayan ang ahensya sa Bureau of Quarantine, gayon din sa mga international health authorities upang masusing bantayan ang mga points of entry sa buong Pilipinas nang sa gayon ay mapigilan ang pagkalat ng flirt virus.
But if you look at our data, our Epidemiology Bureau, our utilization for hospitals are still very low for COVID-19. So hindi pa tayo tumataas. Although I'm watching the events unfold in Singapore because I think in Singapore has reported an increase in flirt not flirtations, but flirt the flirt the new variant of variant under monitoring. It's a variant under monitoring. So hindi siya variant of concern, variant under monitoring.
Patuloy ding paalala ng mga health experts, hindi dapat maging kampante ang publiko sa flirt variant dahil posible pa rin mauwi ito sa mas malalang kondisyon. Dapat pa rin anilang lalong mag-ingat ang mga matatanda at mga immunocompromised sa flirt virus. Parang din po noon, anila panatilihin ang paghuhugas ng kamay at pagsusuot ng face mask kapag may sipon o ubo upang hindi makahawa. And higit sa lahat, huwag katakutan ang magpabakuna dahil ito po ay nakakapagligtas ng buhay laban sa COVID virus.
Nagpadala ng mga jet ang Taiwan at inilagay sa alerto ang mga missile, naval at land units dahil sa mga isinasagawang military exercises ng China sa paligid ng isla. Ayon sa military ng China, ang kanilang 2 araw na military exercise sa paligid ng Taiwan ay parusa para sa mga separatist forces na naghahangad ng independence. Piniklaim ng China o ng Beijing na ang isla ay bahagi ng pambansang teritoryo ng China at ang People's Liberation Army ay madalas magpadala ng mga Navy ships at warplanes sa Taiwan Strait at iba pang lugar sa paligid ng isla upang pahinain ang depensa ng Taiwan at takutin ang mga mamamayan nito. Ayon sa Ministry of Defense ng Taiwan, ito ay isang irrational na provocation na nagbabanta sa kapayapaan at katatagan ng rehiyon at bagaman hindi sila naghahangad ng labanan, hindi rin sila uurong sa anumang gulo. Sa kanyang inaugurasyon, nanawagan si Taiwanese President Lai Ching-te na itigil ng Beijing ang kanilang military intimidation at nangakong hindi muna sila magdedesisyon tungkol sa relasyon nila sa Communist Party ng China. Sinabi rin niya na naghahangad siya ng isang meeting sa Beijing habang pinananatili ang kasalukuyang estado ng Taiwan at iniiwasan ang mga tunggalian na maaaring makaakit ng mga kaalyado.
Samantala, inakusahan ng Pentagon ng Russia na nagpadala ito ng space weapon o armas pangkalawakan na dumaan sa kurso ng isang US government satellite. Narito po ang ulat sa report ni Jeff Sanidad.
Ayon kay Pentagon spokesman Air Force Major General Pat Ryder, naglunsad umano ang Russia ng satellite sa low Earth orbit na malamang anya ay counter-space weapon na kayang atakihin ang ibang satellites sa low Earth orbit.
As you highlight, Russia launched a satellite into low Earth orbit that we assess as likely a counter-space weapon, presumably capable of attacking other satellites in low Earth orbit. Russia deployed this new counter-space weapon into the same orbit as a U.S. government satellite. And so assessments further indicate characteristics resembling previously deployed counter-space payloads from 2019 and 2022.
Dagdag ni Ryder na patuloy ang Washington sa pagmomonitor ng sitwasyon at handa itong protektahan ng mga interest ng bansa.
We have a responsibility to be ready to protect and defend the domain, the space domain, and ensure continuous and uninterrupted support to the joint and combined force.
Hindi nagkomento si Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov sa mga ulat na naglunsad ang Russia ng space weapon. Ngunit sinabi niya na ang mga aksyon ng Russia ay ayon sa international law, hindi lumalabag sa anumang bagay at patuloy na sumusuporta sa pambaba ng armas sa kalawakan. Samantala noong Martes, inakusahan ng Russia ang US na naglalayong lagyan ng armas ang kalawakan matapos iveto ng Washington ng Russia non-proliferation motion sa United Nations. Ayon kay Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova, muling pinatunayan ng Washington na ang prioridad nito ukol sa kalawakan ay ang maglagay ng armas dito at gawin itong area ng kompetensyong militar. Jeff Sanidad para sa mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Nakatakdang bumoto ang United Nations Security Council sa isang resolution na kondenahin sa mga pag-atake sa mga humanitarian workers at UN personnel ang hinihinalang na protektahan sila alinsunod sa international law. Ayon kay UN Ambassador ng Switzerland, Pascale Berisuel, ang layunin ng resolution ay kasing simple ng kahalagahan nito. Ito ay tungkol sa pagprotekta sa mga nagtatrabaho at nagbubuwis ng kanilang buhay araw-araw upang tulungan ang mga taong apektado ng armed conflict. Ang draft resolution na ito ay hindi tumutukoy sa anumang partikular na tunggalian, ngunit ito ay inihahalal habang nagaganap ang mga labanan sa Gaza, Ukraine, Sudan, Myanmar at marami pang ibang lugar sa buong mundo. Gayunpaman, ang 7-month war sa Gaza ang may pinakamaraming bilang ng mga pag-atake sa UN at humanitarian personnel na may mahigit 170 naiulat na namatay. Sa isa pang issue, kinokondena ng resolution ng disinformation, information manipulation at incitement to violence laban sa mga humanitarian staff at hinihikayat ang buong mundo na gumawa ng aksyon upang tugunan ang mga bantang ito.
Magbubukas naman ang embahada nito ang Colombia sa Ramallah sa teritoryo ng Palestine. Subalit hindi naman umano ito laban sa Israel kahit na nagpahayag ang Pangulo nito na genocidal ang kampanya ng Israel sa Gaza. Yolanda Aspiras para sa report.
Ayon kay Colombian Foreign Minister Luis Murillo, nag-utos si Pangulong Gustavo Petro na magbukas ng embahada sa Ramallah sa may West Bank. Si Petro ay isang mabagsik na kritiko ni Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ng Israel.
Presidente Petro ha dado la instrucción de que instalemos la embajada de Colombia en Ramallah, la representación de Colombia en Ramallah. Ese es el próximo paso que vamos a dar.
Ang anunsyong ito ay kasabay ng pagpapahayag ng suporta sa Palestinian State ng mga bansang Ireland, Norway at Spain. Pinutol ng Colombia ang relasyon nito sa Israel matapos tawagin ni Petro na genocidal si Netanyahu. Hiningi rin ni Petro sa International Criminal Court na isyuhan ng arrest warrant ang Israel dahil umano sa war crimes. Noong Lunes, humingi na nga ng arrest warrants ang prosecutor ng ICC para kay Netanyahu at sa kanyang defense minister, gayon din sa mga pinuno ng Hamas. Sa kabila ng balak na pagpapatayo ng embahada ng Colombia sa Rafah, sinabi ni Murillo na ang aksyon ay hindi laban sa mga tao ng Israel. Samantala, umaasaan niya ang Colombia na mas marami pang bansa ang kikilala sa Palestinian State.
Estamos seguros obviamente que cada vez más países van a reconocer a Palestina y esto no es nada en contra de Israel o del pueblo de Israel.
Yolanda Aspiras para sa mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Pinatawag ng Israel Foreign Minister ang mga ambassadors ng Norway, Spain at Ireland dahil sa desisyon ng kanilang gobyerno na kilalanin ang Palestine bilang estado.
לגבי נושא נוסף שנמצא כאן היום בחדשות באירופה, נושא המדינה הפלסטינית. יש אנשים שתומכים בדעה הזאת, יש אנשים שלא, אבל זה לא המקום ולא הזמן עכשיו לבוא ולהכיר באופן חד צדדי, כמו שעושות נורווגיה ואירלנד וספרד כנראה, במדינה פלסטינית. אפילו בניגוד לעמדת האיחוד האירופאי, בניגוד לקונסנזוס, משום שדברים כאלה צריכים להיקבע רק במשא ומתן ישיר ולא באופן חד צדדי. וכל החלטה כזאת פוגעת בריבונות הישראלית ובביטחון הישראלי, ואנחנו לא נאפשר. אני הוריתי להזמין את השגרירים שלנו חזרה הביתה, ואנחנו ננקוט בכל האמצעים כדי למנוע.
Ipinakita sa kanilang video ng mga militante ng Hamas na dinakip ang 5 babaeng sundalo ng Israel noong Oktubre 7 na nag-udyok ng giyera sa Gaza. Iniutos din ni Israeli Foreign Minister Israel Katz ang immediate recall ng kanilang mga ambassador sa mga nasabing bansa para konsultahin kung paano magpapatuloy ang ugnayan nila ng mga bansa. Ayon sa ulat nito sa social media platform na X, sabi ni Katz, I'm sending a clear and unequivocal message to Ireland and Norway. Israel will not remain silent in the face of those undermining its sovereignty and endangering its security. Giit niya ng nasabing baluktot na desisyon ng nasabing mga bansa ay isang premyo umano para sa Hamas. Maalala nating kinundena ng Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu kung saan nasabi niya ang pagkilala ng mga bansa ay Palestino ay nangangahulugang sinusuportahan ng mga bansa ang Hamas. Ibinabala nila na nasabing desisyon ay magkakaroon ng lamat sa ugnayan nila sa bawat isa.
Nagpahayag ang pinuno ng United Nations Palestinian Refugee Agency o UNRWA na inuuna ng mga otoridad ng Israel ang pagpapasok o pagpapasok ng private sector goods sa Gaza. Bagaman mahalaga rin ang mga ito, sinabi naman ng UNRWA na kailangan din ng mga taga-Gaza ang humanitarian aid sapagkat marami sa kanila ay wala namang pambili mula sa pribadong sektor. Nagbabalik po si Jeff Sanidad para sa report.
Kombinasyon ng goods mula sa pribadong sektor at mula sa humanitarian aid ang kailangan ng mga taga-Gaza. Ito ang panawagan ni UNRWA Chief Philip Lazzarini matapos itong ipahayag na inuuna ng Israeli authorities ang pagpapasok ng private sector goods sa Gaza. Napansinaan niya ng organisasyon na nitong mga nakaraang linggo, nagaganap ang prioritasyon sa inspeksyon pa lang, inuunaan niya ang mga truck ng pribadong sektor bago ang iba.
I have noticed since May the 6th is that the aid community and mainly the WFP, the UNRWA, but also the other UN agencies, we have been able in 17 days to bring 140 trucks. We have also seen that during the same period there have been an average of more than 100 trucks, 150 trucks coming from the private sector into Gaza. And indeed, when it comes to the crossing in Kerem Shalom, the private sector, for the time being, is being prioritized.
And this is a new development?
They are prioritized in terms of, indeed, inspection. They will be inspected before any other trucks, and that's also a way to bring in more private sector, which definitely is welcome in the Gaza Strip. But as we know, you need a combination of both humanitarian aid and market. Today, the people in Gaza do not really have access to the market, maybe.
Samantalang welcome din naman ang private goods sa Gaza. Ani Lazzarini, desperado ang mga taga-Gaza sa libreng tulong sapagkat hindi nila kayang bumili ng mga bagay-bagay matapos ang 7 buwang gyera. Ayon sa mga ahensya ng tulong, ang bilang ng aid trucks na pumapasok sa Gaza mula sa Rafah at Kerem Shalom crossings ay kumonti na ng kumonti. Jeff Sanidad para sa Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Nagdeklara si Pangulong Daniel Noboa ng state of emergency sa 7 probinsya ng Ecuador. Ito ay matapos tumaas ang bilang ng karahasan sa bansa sa gitna ng digmaan ng gobyerno laban sa mga kriminal at drug gangs. Ang panukalang state of emergency ay nagbibigay pahintulot kay Noboa na mag-deploy ng mga sundalo sa Guas, El Oro, Santa Elena, Manabi, Sucumbios, Orellana at Los Rios. Ayon kay Pangulong Noboa, sa loob ng 60 days ay maaaring pumasok ang mga sundalo sa mga bahay na walang prior authorization.
Por eso hoy presentamos un estado de excepción focalizado en las provincias que más necesitan que las Fuerzas Armadas y la Policía Nacional tengan libertad de acción. Las bandas criminales ante la ofensiva militar se han resguardado y atrincherado en 7 provincias: Los Ríos, Guayas, Santa Elena, Manabí, El Oro, Sucumbíos y Orellana.
Nagdeklara rin si Pangulong Noboa ng state of emergency noong Enero matapos makatakas sa maximum security detention ang narco-boss na si Jose Adolfo Macias alias Fito. Isinailalim din ni Noboa ang Ecuador sa state of internal armed conflict dahil sa pangingidnap ng mga gangsters sa mga pulis at sunod-sunod na patayan. Magugunitang nag-expire na ang naunang state of emergency noong nakaraang buwan. Naniniwala si Noboa na kailangang kumilos na militar upang manalo ang gobyerno ng Ecuador laban sa mga kriminal.
Para ganar en esta segunda etapa de la guerra necesitamos que se permita actuar a los militares, que los delincuentes y terroristas que se amparan y se burlan de las fuerzas del orden y la justicia en su derecho a la inviolabilidad del domicilio sepan que lo van a perder.
Nasa Estados Unidos ngayon si Kenyan President William Ruto kung saan sinalubong siya ni Pangulong Joe Biden. Kasama sa tinutukan ng dalawang bansa ang papel ng Kenya sa misyon na ibalik ang kaayusan sa Haiti. JC Yumol para sa report.
Sinasabing ang pigbisita sa US ni Kenyan President William Ruto ay diplomacy heavy kasamang isang magarbong hapunan sa White House. Ito ang kauna-unahang pagkakataon sa loob ng 15 taon na magsasagawa ng state visit sa US ang isang African leader. Ayon sa isang senior administration official, formal na hihilingin ni Biden sa Kongreso na bigyan ng major non-NATO ally status ang Kenya. Nangangahulugang ito ng prelibiyong militar at diplomatiko kahit walang formal na garantiyang panseguridad. Sa kasalukuyan, 18 bansa ang may ganitong status, subalit kauna-unahan sa Sub-Saharan Africa ang Kenya. Ayon sa opisyal, ito ay dahil sa ang demokrasya sa Kenya ay matatag sa East Africa. Ayon naman kay Pangulong Biden, mas matatag ang dalawang bansa kung magkatuwang ang mga ito.
Today, as we begin the next decade of our partnership, we've launched a new initiative to bring our countries, companies, and communities closer together, because the past is our proof that we are stronger and the world is safer when Kenya and the United States work together.
Nagpasalamat si Pangulong Ruto at sinabing hudyat ng pagkakaibigan at kolaborasyon ang kanyang pagbisita at pagtanggap sa kanya ng US.
I want to thank President Biden for extending an invitation to me to undertake this state visit, a sign of friendship and partnership and collaboration between two countries that share common values, values of freedom, democracy, rule of law, equality, and inclusivity. And today, as we celebrate our past, we are optimistic about our future. That by undertaking this state visit, we will have the opportunity to discuss and to have a conversation about building global partnership and leadership around the issues that pose challenges.
Samantala, nangako si Ruto na ang nalalapit na Kenyan deployment sa Haiti ay dudurog sa gangs na lalong nagpapahirap sa mga pinakasalat na bansa sa Western Hemisphere. Aniya, layo ng Kenyan forces na tiyakin ang kapayapaan sa Haiti at baliin ang liko ng gangs at mga kriminal na nagsasabog ng kaguluhan sa bansa.
And that's why we're building a coalition of nations beyond Kenya and the US. Many who are making contribution towards the MSS force in Haiti to secure that country and to break the back of the gangs and the criminals that have visited untold suffering in that country.
Inalok ng Washington ang pinansyal at lohistikong tulong sa Kenya ukol sa Haiti mission. JC Yumul para sa mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Sa nalalapit na jury deliberation kaugnay ng hush money trial ni Donald Trump, ayon sa isang propesor ng abogasya, ay magiging tensyonado ito bilang ang bawat desisyon ay magiging basihan ng mga susunod pang hakbangin. Rosel Feria para sa report.
Nakaabang ang buong bansa sa kalalabasan ng hush money trial ni dating Pangulong Donald Trump. Sa darating na linggo, nakaschedule ng mag-deliberate ang mga hurado kung ano ang magiging husga nila sa bilyonaryong tumatakbong muli bilang presidente ng Estados Unidos sa darating na Nobyembre. Ipinaliwanag ni Law Professor Bennett Gershman ang mga hakbang na gagawin ng mga hurado. Anya, bawat hakbang ay komplikado at maaaring magdulot ng tensyon.
But the jury has to first find that the crime of falsification of business records was committed by Donald Trump, either directly or working with others to commit that crime. That's crime number one. That's a misdemeanor. But now the misdemeanor is raised to a felony if the crime of filing false documents was done in order to commit some other crime. And that's a felony. And that's going to be a more difficult question for the jury to find. Were those false filing of documents done in order to help Trump get elected president?
Ayon kay Gershman, ang desisyong ito ay hindi magiging madali para sa mga hurado. Isa ito anya sa pinakamapanghamon na deliberasyon.
This is one of the most challenging deliberations for jurors in history. I mean, for sure, this is the first time a former president has ever been charged with a crime and has ever been brought to trial. And every juror sitting in that jury room deliberating this case knows that full well. They know the awesome responsibility they have.
Ayon kay Gershman, ang husga o verdict ay dapat unanimous, kung kaya't umaasa ang depensa na huwag umayon ang kahit isa lang sa mga hurado upang manalo.
I think if the defense can get the jury to deadlock, not to unanimously agree, I'm pretty sure the defense would call that a major victory. The prosecution hasn't proved its case, and you know how they will spin that result to the Trump voters. So my sense is if you can't get the jury to agree and there has to be a mistrial, I think that will be considered something of a loss for the prosecution, a victory for the defense, and then we'll just have to see where it goes from there.
Subalit kung makonvict si Trump o mapatunayang may sala, ani Gershman, mababawasan malamang ang mga nagbabalak na bumoto rito.
Oh, I think if Trump is convicted, let's say, of a felony, it will definitely hurt his presidential run. I mean, I think there's been quite a bit of information from prospective voters that if Trump has been convicted of a felony, multitudes of voters who might have voted for Trump will probably be less likely to vote for him.
Ngunit kahit na mapatunayang may sala si Trump, hindi ito nangangahulugan ng kawalan ng karapatang maging presidente. Maniwala kayo o sa hindi, ayon kay Gershman, pwede pa rin siyang maging pangulo kahit na nakakulong.
Even if he's convicted, that is not a bar to his being elected president and for becoming the official president of the United States. He can be convicted, he can even be sent to jail, but he can still be the president of the United States, believe it or not.
At kung sakaling ang mapatunayang may sala si Trump, may posibilidad pa rin na hindi siya ipakulong dahil sa kanyang edad at ni minsan ay hindi pa siya napatunayang nakagawa ng krimen. Rosel Feria para sa Mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Susunod, landslide sa Papua New Guinea, pumatay na maraming buhay.
Boston Celtics wagi sa ikalawang laro ng conference finals.
And BTS RM inilabas na ang ikalawang solo album. Mga detalye ng balita sa pagbabalik ng Mata ng Agila International.
It's the weekend na naman. Ibig sabihin, it's again a new episode on Corina Interviews. Kasama niyo pa rin syempre ang inyong lingkod, Corina Sanchez Rojas. Ready na ba ang mga fangirls na kiligin? Uupo ngayong linggo sa ating mga famous chair ang isa sa mga certified crush ng bayan, ang aktor na si Jake Cuenca. Wow, matapang niyang ikinwento ang kanyang trauma nung siya'y bata pa lang. Bakit? Reveal din niya ang sikreto sa kanyang pagiging fit. At kumusta naman ang minsang naging kontrobersyal niyang love life. At marami pang revelasyon. Dito lang yan sa Corina Interviews, Sunday 6 p.m. sa Net25.
Let's get together sa Net25. Senate 25.
This portion is brought to you by North Luzon Express Terminal.
Tinatayang umabot ng hanggang 100 katao ang namatay dahil sa landslide sa Papua New Guinea ayon po sa lokal na residente doon. 6 na villages sa northern province ng Enga ang natapunan ng landslide noong madaling araw ng Biyernes. Ayon sa mga tao sa mga kalapit na villages na Muritaka, maaaring umabot sa 80 o hanggang 100 na katao kasama na ang mga bata ang natabunan, bagaman hindi pa nag-aanunsyo ang mga otoridad ng opisyal na bilang ng mga nasawi. Sinabi ni Provincial Administrator ng Enga na si Sandis Chaka na nagpadala na ang mga emergency response team sa lugar, kabilang ang mga disaster response, police at mga healthcare workers upang suriin ang lawak ng pinsala. Dagdag pa ni Chaka na kasama sa rescue effort ang pag-clear ng daan patungong Porgera na lubhang nasira at nabara. At nanawagan siya ng suporta mula sa gobyerno at iba pang mga organisasyon upang matulungan ang mga biktima ng kalamidad doon.
Patay ang 4 na tao at 16 naman ang sugatan matapos bumagsak ng 2 palapag mula sa gusali sa Mallorca, Spain. Ayon sa mga otoridad ay patuloy ang ginagawa nilang rescue operations para mahanap ang mga nawawala pang tao. Nagpadala rin sila ng mga psychology experts sa tulong o sa lugar para tulungan at kausapin ang ilang biktima. Batay sa ulat ni Palma Fire Chief Eder Garcia, karamihan sa mga biktima ng pagguho ay mga dayuhan at turista. Samantala, nagpaabot naman ng pakikiramay ang Prime Minister ng Spain na sa pamilya ng mga biktima. Dagdag pa niya ay mahigpit niyang binabantayan ang investigasyon sa insidente at handa rin ng gobyerno na magpadala ng pinansyal na tulong.
Nasira ang isang sewage structure sa Rio Grande do Sul, bunsod ng malakas na pagragasa ng baha sa Brazil. Kita po sa video ang kumalas na sewage structure na dinala ng malakas na agos ng tubig. Ayon sa ulat ng Rio Grande do Sul, nasa 163 ang nasawi at nasa 72 naman ang nawawala dahil sa pagbaha sa naturang estado simula pa noong April 29. Dagdag pa nito na itala rin ng estado ang nasa 647,000 na taong nawala ng tirahan dahil sa pagbaha.
Sumiklab ang isang sunog sa isang apartment sa Vietnam kung saan 14 ang patay habang 6 naman ang sugatan. Pahirapan naman ang ginawang pag-apula sa sunog ng mga bumbero dahil sa makitid na daan papasok sa lugar. Ayon sa mga otoridad ay nagsimula ang sunog dakong alas 12 ng hating gabi na sinundan ng sunod-sunod na pagsabog. Dagdag pa nila aabot sa 24 na tao ang nasa loob ng gusali na mangyari ang sunog. Bukod dito ay magbibigay rin ang gobyerno ng $1,962 para sa pamilya ng mga namatayan habang $1,077 naman sa mga sugatan. Bigong makabawi ang Indiana Pacers sa naunang pagkatalo sa Eastern Conference Finals laban sa Boston Celtics. Vin Pascua para sa balita.
Pagkatapos ng game-saving three-pointer sa kanilang series opener, muling bumida si Jaylen Brown sa Game 2 ng Eastern Conference Finals sa Boston. Nakakuha si Brown ng playoff career high 40 points para balikatin ng Celtics patungo sa 126-110 win kontra sa Indiana Pacers para makuha ang 2-0 lead sa series. Nakakuha naman ng 23 points sina Jason Tatum at Derek White, habang si Drew Holiday naman ay nakakuha ng 15 points, 10 assists para sa top-seeded Celtics. Para sa Pacers naman ay nakakuha ng 28 points si Pascal Siakam habang nalimitahan sa 10 points at 8 assists si Tyrese Haliburton matapos makakuha ng 25 points at 10 rebounds noong Game 1. Sa third quarter ay napilitan siyang bumalik sa bench dahil sa isang potential injury. Sa first quarter pa lang ay meron ng 10 lead changes kung saan nahawakan ng Indiana ang 27-22 edge bago agawin ng Boston ang next 20 points para tuloy ng itakbo ang laro. Siyam na sunod na tirang isinablay ng Pacers at natawagan pa ng 4 na turnovers sa isang 6-minute stretch na naging mitya ng pagkapanalo ng Celtics. Inumpisahan ni Brown ang third quarter na may 2 quick baskets para umakyat ng 61-52. Nakabalik ang Pacers sa pangunguna ni Siakam para ilapit sa 2 ang lead pero muli ay rumatsada ng 16-5 run ang Celtics. Hindi na naibaba ng Indiana ang hinahabol nito na single digit. Uuwi ng Indiana ang Pacers para i-host ang susunod na 2 laro. Para sa Balitang Sports, Vin Pascua para sa mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Inilabas na ngayong araw ang pinaka-aabangang solo album na Right Place, Wrong Person ni K-pop BTS rapper RM. Naglalaman ang bago niyang solo album ng 11 song tracks na tsak na magugustuhan ng mga ARMY. Sa nasabing album ay mapapakinggan ang Come Back to Me, Right Place, Wrong Person na kinatatampukan ng alternative-based songs kagaya ng Nuts, Groin, Heaven, Lost at marami pang iba. Dagdag pa rito ang ilang larawan ng kanyang album na nagbigay naman ng tuwa sa mga fans na naghihintay sa muling pagbabalik ng kanilang grupo. Samantala, abala ngayon ang mga miyembro ng BTS na sina RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V at Jungkook para tapusin ang kanilang military service kung saan inaasahan na matatapos na sa wakas sa taong 2025.
Isinagawa nitong Huwebes ang White House dinner o state dinner para bigyan ng pagkilala ang pagbisita ng Kenyan President na si William Ruto kung saan dinaluhan ito ng ilan sa mga sikat na celebrities. Mahigit sa 500 bisita ang pumunta sa pagtitipon na may natatanging venue at menu para ipakita ang kahalagahan nito para sa dalawang bansa. Dumalo rito ang country singer na si Brad Paisley na nakasuot ng kanyang signature cowboy hat habang kinakanta ang kanyang hit songs na American Saturday Night at This Is Country Music. Bukod kay Brad ay pumunta rin ang singer-songwriter na si John McLean na kumanta naman ng American Pie, si Barbara Kingsolver at ang mga aktor katulad ni Wilmer Valderrama, Sean Penn, pati na rin ang British filmmaker na si Michaela Coel. Dumating rin ang dating Pangulo na si Bill Clinton kasama ang kanyang asawa na si Hillary habang sandali ring nakisaya ang dating Pangulo na si Barack Obama. Samantala, taong 2003 pa noong huling magkaroon ng White House State Dinner ang Kenya na hindi nasundan matapos ang naging pagkikita ng dating Pangulo na si George W. Bush at dating Pangulo ng Ghana na si John Kufuor.
Sa kaugnay pong balita, naghanda ng natatanging 3-course meal ang White House para bigyan ng pagkilala ang naging pagbisita ng Pangulo ng Kenya na si William Ruto. Ayon sa White House Executive Chef na si Chris Comerford, ang main course ay kombinasyon ng tinatawag niya na best of both worlds kung saan bida ang smoked short ribs at lobster. Yummy! Binubuo ang first course ng mga pagkain na chilled heirloom tomato soup, sourdough crisps at arbequina olive oil na kaagad namang nagustuhan ng mga bisita. Kasunod nito ang main course na fruitwood smoked beef, short ribs, butter poached lobster, citrus butter, baby kale, and sweet corn puree. Nagtapos naman ang kanilang hapunan sa mga desserts na white chocolate basket, banana ganache, raspberries, peaches, and candied lime zest.
Isang malungkot na balita para sa ating mga furry parents. Namatay ngayong araw ang aso na si Kabosu o kilala bilang meme dog sa edad na 18 matapos niyang makipaglaban sa matinding sakit. Matagal nang nilalabanan ni Caboso ang sakit niyang leukemia at liver disease, ngunit sa kasamaang palad ay hindi niya na ito kinaya. Ayon sa Instagram post ng kanyang amo na si Atsuko Sato, ay ikinalulungkot niyang ibalita ang naging pagpanaw ni Caboso. Dagdag niya ay lubos siyang nagpapasalamat sa suporta na kanilang ibinigay sa loob ng maraming taon. Samantala, taong 2008 nang inampon ni Sato ang aso matapos itong ipadala sa isang animal shelter at mula nito ay nanatili na ito sa kanyang pangangalaga. Kasunod nito, biglang pagsikat ni Caboso matapos lumabas ng kanyang larawan noong 2010 na kinaaliwan ng mga netizens dahil sa kanyang nakakatuwang itsura.
Nakakalungkot naman yan. I'm sure marami nalungkot. Kayo na pang umaga, di ba, sa internet nga. Talaga ang daming nagpahiwatig talaga.
Kailan nga lang nabigyan talaga ng recognition na sobrang nag-viral na si Caboso nga yung image nung meme dog sa Dogecoin, di ba?
Tapos naman, 18 years. 18 years, that's a very long and full life for a dog. And at the end, he was really loved. At naramdaman niya, hindi lang ng kanyang adoptive parents, kundi ng buong mundo talaga, di ba?
So talagang halo-halo ang balita, no? Saya-saya ko pa naman dun sa menu na ibinalita mo.
Diba?
Kasi parang sa sarap ng mga binanggit mong pagkain ng bandang
Siguro, feeling ko kasi nga kagabi, no, naghanap tayo ng pagkain. So kayo naman, talaga naman, ang sasarap ng pagkain. Ako, favorite natin. Nga yung weekend na naman, nakalain mo, Nina.
Sasabihin ko pa lang, kung kailan Biyernes, ay doon tayo magbabalita ng mga masasarap na pagkain, nakakatakot na naman yan. Tapos uulan.
Uulan, masarap na naman. Pero wala tayong joke ngayon, Nina, no? Kasi dahil nalulungkot po kami ni Nina nga dahil kay Caboso. Ayan. So, dahil kami ay for parents din.
Tama.
Pero syempre, tandaan nyo ngayon dahil akala ni ate, ma'am, siguro, ito na yung mag-extra na tayo. Tandaan nyo po ngayong weekend, mag-ingat kayo dahil may papasok po tayong bagyo. May binabantayan po na LPA. Actually, meron na po tayong ibang bahagi na bansa ngayon na nakakaranas ng single warning kung nakinig po kayo kanina. Kaya ingat pa rin po tayo sa ating weekend na paggala. Ayan, pamamasyal. Ayan. At tandaan, happy weekend po sa inyo. Subalit tandaan, mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, narito po kami para maghatid ng balita sa mangdako ng mundo. Muli, ako po si Ricky Matay. Happy weekend, everyone.
At ako naman si Nina Richie Alagaw Flores na siyempre bumabati rin ng happy weekend sa inyo pong lahat. Ito pa rin ang mata ng Agila International. Para naman sa mga balitang nangyari sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo, punta naman tayo kay Alma Angeles para sa Net 25 World News. Take it away, Alma.
Thank you, Nina and Ricky. I'm Alma Angeles for Net 25 World News. On tonight's headlines. China said that Taiwan's leadership was pushing the self-ruled island into war and warned of further countermeasures as Beijing conducted military drills around the territory for the second day. The Philippines said it had opened a Coast Guard post in the country's far north to boost security following China's military buildup near Taiwan over the past 2 years. Thailand's Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin faces court probe for appointing a minister with a 2008 bribery conviction. And Germany on trial, an ex-politician and military figures accused of plotting parliament attack to overthrow the government. Joyce Fabros will report from Munich. China said today that Taiwan's leadership was pushing the self-ruled island into war and warned of further countermeasures as Beijing conducted its second day of military drills around the territory. Take a look. Today marks the second day of what China terms as punishment drills for Taiwan. With a massive operation underway, China deployed 15 warships, 16 naval police vessels, and 42 warplanes around the island, encircling it from all directions. This move marks a significant escalation as China typically focused on blockades in previous drills. But this time, it simulated a full-scale attack. The drills, named Joint Sword 2024, hinted at potential sequels indicating more military actions could be on the horizon. President Lai, known for his strong stance against China, faces a critical test of leadership. Despite his firm public statements urging China to stop threatening Taiwan, the drills aim to challenge his resolve.
身为三军统帅，我的责任就是保家卫国，维护全体国人生命财产安全。我会和国军弟兄姐妹站在第一线，共同守护国家安全。此时此刻，国际社会正高度关注民主台湾，而面对外在的挑战与威胁，我们会持续捍卫自由民主的价值，守护区域的和平稳定。我对国军有信心。我要感谢每一位国军弟兄姐妹坚守岗位。
Taiwan responded swiftly, mobilizing its military assets and issuing warnings to Chinese vessels. While the drills weren't entirely unexpected, they underscore a worrying trend of escalating tensions. China's increasing boldness from minor drills to simulated attacks sends a clear message, not just to Taiwan, but also to its allies like Japan and the U.S.
中国人民解放军东部战区。
The PLA Eastern Theater Command has made an announcement which you may refer to. The military exercise is a necessary and legitimate move to safeguard national sovereignty and territorial integrity, crack down on Taiwan independent separatist forces, and send a warning to external interference. It is fully consistent with international law and common practices, and it is legitimate and necessary. I need to stress that Taiwan is an inalienable part of China's territory. This is both a fact based on history and the true status quo. This will not change in the future. Taiwan independence is doomed to fail. The Chinese people will not be deterred from defending our sovereignty and territorial integrity. The 1.4 billion strong Chinese people will resolutely push back any separatist activity for Taiwan independence. Anyone seeking Taiwan independence will find themselves crushed by the historic trend of China's complete reunification. We urge the U.S. to stop supporting and encouraging Taiwan independence forces, stop interfering in China's internal affairs. Any act that endanger China's sovereignty and territorial integrity will meet with the strong response from the Chinese side.
Experts suggest that while Taiwan has contingency plans, China's actions raise concerns about the island's security. As China stages drills near Taiwan's eastern coast, it's a reminder to the U.S. not to intervene. The drills justified by China as necessary measures leave Taiwan in a delicate position. While the Taiwanese people have chosen a firm stance against reunification, the escalatory military actions require a careful reassessment of defense strategies. Amidst ongoing conflicts in the other parts of the world, the focus on Taiwan's security becomes even more critical. Failure to respond to China's drills could embolden Beijing, while a strong response risks further escalation. For it's been a turbulent first week in office, navigating the complexities of Taiwan-China relations amidst growing military tensions. Meanwhile, the Philippines said today it had opened a Coast Guard post in the country's far north to boost security following China's military buildup near Taiwan over the past 2 years. The outpost shall gather essential maritime data and intelligence, enabling the Philippine Coast Guard to respond effectively to threats such as illicit trade, trafficking, piracy, and foreign intrusions, according to National Security Advisor Eduardo Año in a statement. In 2022, the area around Itbayat witnessed a military buildup as China responded to political developments between Taiwan and the U.S., Año said, announcing the opening of the station of the Philippines' northernmost inhabited island. Itbayat is located around 150 kilometers south of Taiwan's south coast. Securing peace, stability, and freedom of navigation along the Luzon Strait is crucial for ensuring Philippine national security and economic prosperity. Año added that he sees Luzon Strait, which lies between the Philippines and Taiwan, both as a vital international waterway and a potential flashpoint for regional and international conflicts. It was the focus earlier this month of major annual joint military exercises between Manila and its longtime ally, the U.S. Last year, the Philippine government also granted the U.S. military use of a Navy base on Luzon's north coast and a nearby airport as part of a defense cooperation agreement. A devastating fire tore through an apartment complex in central Hanoi early today, killing 14 people and injuring 3 others. Now, the blaze broke out around 12:30 a.m. in Kaogai district, filling the building with smoke and toxic gases. Rescuers broke through a locked gate and a window to save 7 trapped residents. Witnesses reported hearing explosions and screams as the fire destroyed motorbikes and bicycles in the courtyard. By 1:26 in the morning, firefighters had extinguished the flames, leaving the building a charred shell. 3 survivors are in emergency treatment. Authorities are investigating the cause of the latest deadly blaze in Vietnam. Last September, a similar fire in Hanoi claimed 56 lives. Thailand's Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin is in trouble. The Constitutional Court is investigating him for appointing Piche Chuamangpan as a minister. Now, Piche is a longtime member of Srettha's Pheu Thai party and was involved in a 2008 scandal for trying to bribe the Supreme Court and was sentenced to 6 months in prison. Despite his conviction, Piche continued to work for the Pheu Thai party and was recently made a minister, a move opposed by 40 Thai senators who petitioned the court to remove both Piche and Srettha. Piche resigned 2 days before the court's decision aiming to protect Srettha, but the court is still examining Srettha's actions. Thailand has a history of political instability, with 12 military coups since 1932. The current Senate, which filed a complaint, is appointed by the military, suggesting possible military influence. The Constitutional Court has made controversial decisions in the past, including allowing a former junta leader to run for elections, despite term limits, and disbanding an anti-junta party. Now it's considering dissolving the Move Forward Party, which won the last election. Prime Minister Srettha has 15 days to defend himself, insisting he did nothing wrong. The key question now is whether he can convince the court of his innocence and keep his position. President Marcos Jr. will embark on visits to Brunei and Singapore next week to bolster security and economic ties. The Department of Foreign Affairs announced that today. In a pre-departure briefing at Malacanang, Foreign Affairs spokesperson Maria Teresita Daza confirmed that President Marcos will visit Brunei on May 28 and the 29th for a state visit, followed by a trip to Singapore on May 30 and 31 for the International Institute for Strategic Studies Shangri-La Dialogue.
The Shangri-La Dialogue is an annual intergovernmental security forum held in Singapore, and it started in 2002. It is organized by the IISS, or the International Institute of Strategic Studies, which is a leading think tank specializing in security and defense issues. While in Singapore, the President will also meet with the new leadership of the country, of Singapore, President Tharman Shanmugaratnam and Prime Minister Lawrence Wong.
Aside from being part of the tradition of the ASEAN leaders visiting fellow ASEAN countries, this state visit is in line with the President's commitment to continue exploring avenues for economic growth and job opportunities for Filipinos, as the business forum is aimed to boost trade and investments into the country.
Passengers on a Singapore Airlines flight that hit extreme turbulence over Asia suffered skull, brain, and spinal injuries, according to Adinun Kiratampun, the head of a Bangkok hospital, at a press conference in the Thai capital, where flight SQ321 made an emergency landing.
Patients that we treated as inpatient, totally 41 patients. Our doctor ever treat this kind of disease, this kind of accident according to the air turbulence? I can say that no, because last time don't have this kind of condition.
Singaporean investigators are currently analyzing the cockpit voice and flight data recorders to reconstruct the events and determine the cause. They're joined by investigators from the U.S. In response to the incident, Singapore Airlines has tightened seatbelt regulations and suspended meal service during turbulence to prioritize passenger safety. This incident highlights the dangers of clear air turbulence, a phenomenon worsened by climate change, according to scientists. Air safety experts also emphasize the importance of wearing seatbelts at all times during flights. Coming up next, Germany on trial. A prince, ex-politician, and military figures are accused of plotting parliament attack to overthrow the government. As the North Atlantic hurricane season approaches, U.S. NOAA Weather Agency has issued an extraordinary forecast that we need to share with you. That and more when we come back. Welcome back. We're following a major development in Germany. A high-profile trial has begun for a group accused of plotting to overthrow the government. And this case involves a prince, a former MP, and ex-military officers, all allegedly conspiring to storm the parliament and seize power. Lovely Apple Joyce Fabros reports from Munich, Germany.
Yes, Alma, in one of the biggest cases in German history, prosecutors allege a group, including a prince, a former MP, and ex-military officers, planned to storm the parliament building and seize power. What are the details of the alleged plot? Prosecutors say the group was motivated by conspiracy theories and believed Germany was under the control of a deep state. Their plan reportedly involved taking hostages in the parliament and installing a new government with the Prince Heinrich XIII Rus as the leader.
Also, ist kein Anführer, kein Redelsführer und ist auch nicht Mitglied einer terroristischen Vereinigung. So viel dazu.
Man kann eins sagen, die Rolle, die unserem Mandanten durch die Medien zugeordnet wird, die hat er wirklich nicht gehabt. Er wird hier als das große Monster dargestellt, der hier der Anführer der ganzen Geschichte war. Das stimmt doch alles gar nicht. Das wird hier von den Medien hochgepusht und das ist einfach falsch. Aber das werden wir klar drücken.
Now, who else is on trial? Several former soldiers and a judge with ties to a far-right political party are also facing charges.
Wir werden noch das Thema weiter ausbreiten, dass hier 3 Prozesse stattfinden über dieselbe Tat, mit dem möglichen Ergebnis, dass da 3 Gerichte zu 3 verschiedenen Ergebnissen kommen könnten. Das soll eigentlich nach unserem Rechtssystem nicht passieren. Und wir sind auch der Meinung, dass die Aufteilung dieses einheitlichen Verfahrens auf 3 verschiedene Anklagen ziemlich willkürlich ist. Das fängt mit...
Bei der Roten Armee-Fraktion haben wir 61 Todesopfer gehabt, die durch Terroranschläge getötet worden sind, in die Luft gesprengt, Flugzeuge wurden entführt und so weiter. Wir haben bis zur Verhaftung unseres Mandanten und weitestgehend aller anderen, die hier angeklagt sind, keine einzige Straftat feststellen können, die im Zusammenhang mit Gewalt, Sachbeschädigung oder Ähnlichem stand. Ja, wir wissen auch, dass in Stuttgart jemand angeklagt ist, der bei viel späterer Verhaftung dann um sich geschossen hat. Das ist aber jemand, den kennt mein Mandant nicht.
A woman with alleged Russian connections is also on trial for aiding the plot. Now, are there any links to Russia's government? Prosecutors say the alleged plotters sought meetings with Russian officials, though their response remains unclear. German officials consider this a major security concern and point to it as evidence of a growing far-right extremist threat. There have been other recent incidents, including a plot to kidnap the health minister. Reporting from Munich, Germany, this is Lovely Applejays Fabros for Net25 World News. Back to you, Alma.
At least 4 people have been killed after the roof of a restaurant in Spain's popular tourist island of Mallorca collapsed. And local rescuers say another 21 people suffered injuries. Elise Danielle tells us more.
Spanish authorities say several nationalities are among the victims. The emergency services wrote on X that 7 of the victims are in a very serious state and 9 others had serious injuries. The victims have been taken to several different hospitals. Local media say the 2-story building is in the Playa de Palma area to the south of the Mediterranean island's capital, Palma de Mallorca. Rescuers continue to work at the scene, looking for any other survivors stuck under the rubble.
Tenim confirmats 4 persones mortes, val? I la resta de diferent consideració. Molts d'ells són lleus, però també tenim de molt greus i de greus.
Mallorca is one of Spanish Balearic Islands. Their pristine waters and beaches attract more tourists than all Spanish regions after Catalonia. More than 14 million people visited the islands last year.
Hi ha diverses nacionalitats. El que sí que sabem és que la majoria no són gent de Palma, sinó són estrangers.
Elise Danielle for Net25 World News.
At least 8 people have been killed after an illegal hostel housing migrants burned down in a village near Moscow. Fire broke out at the 2-story residential building 4 o'clock Thursday morning. Take a look.
Rescuers say 2 occupants escaped. Authorities found 8 bodies in the home, which is on the edge of a holiday village. Prosecutors say a 23-year-old man rented the house and subsequently rented to foreign citizens not registered in Russia. Firefighters could be seen observing the smoldering wreckage in the morning as sections of wall crumbled. Prosecutors have ruled out gas as a potential cause of the blaze. Deadly fires are common in Russia, which has for years suffered from lax safety standards and struggled to modernize older housing with alarms and firefighting equipment. Hundreds of thousands of foreigners without legal status are thought to live in Russia, despite official attempts to crack down on illegal migration. Angel Membrari for Net25 World News.
In a deeply troubling development, families of female Israeli soldiers captured by Hamas on October 7th have released graphic footage of the abduction. The video, which has stirred outrage and anguish, depicts the women visibly injured and bloodied, lined up in what appears to be a distressing situation. The distressing 3-minute clip shared by the families aims to exert pressure on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to secure a release deal with Hamas. The families are desperate for the return of their loved ones and see this as the last resort to spur action from the Israeli government. The original footage, first released by Hamas, reportedly lasted for 13 minutes. However, the version circulated by the Israeli families has been truncated, omitting the most gruesome scenes. In the video, Hamas fighters can be seen threatening the women with death and making derogatory remarks while loading them into vehicles before taking them into Gaza. Out of the 7 women captured, 1 has been rescued while another has been found dead. Tragically, the fate of the remaining 5 remains uncertain as they endure captivity. After viewing the footage, one mother expressed her profound fear for her daughter's safety.
My heart is with my daughter Naama.
on those horrifying moments, on that horrifying day of October 7th. And that is just that one day. She has been there for 229 days since. We only see in that video a fraction of the horrible things that are going on in their surrounding, in the shelter. She is terrified and wounded. There is fear in her eyes. And she is saying whatever she can. She's begging for her life. The top priority is to bring her home. Bring them all home now.
The release of the video sparked widespread outrage in Israel, with thousands taking to the streets to protest against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's handling of the situation. Many demonstrators accused the government of failing to prioritize the safe return of the hostages.
We hope that this video, which is really shocking and overwhelming, we hope it's going to open the eyes of the world that these are crimes, and it's really, it's inhuman. It's inhuman the way the Hamas treats our brothers and sisters. And if the Israeli government doesn't do enough to release them, we call to the world, we call Biden, we call to the free countries in the world to do more to release our brothers and sisters from captivity.
And I think that everybody around the world needs to see it and to understand and to call to the government here in Israel, to Mr. Netanyahu and to the cabinet members that they haven't done enough to bring them back. They got to do everything to pay, I don't care what price. They got to bring them home. We got to do a hostage deal. We can't, they will not survive, and at each moment that they are passing by, they can die.
Ministers of Israel's war cabinet have expressed their shock at the footage, with Netanyahu himself describing it as horrifying. Despite more than 100 hostages being released so far, approximately 130 remain in captivity. Efforts to reach a release deal have faltered repeatedly, leaving the Israeli families in a state of anguish and uncertainty. They hope that the release of this video will apply further pressure on Netanyahu to negotiate a resolution with Hamas and bring an end to the suffering of their loved ones. Kenyan President William Ruto vowed that his country's upcoming deployment to Haiti will seek to crush gangs that have ravaged the Western Hemisphere's poorest country. Now, Ruto was speaking on a state visit to Washington alongside President Joe Biden. Pamasai Likeness reports.
Ruto says Kenya and the other nations set to deploy to Haiti aim to secure that country. He says they will break the backs of the gangs and the criminals that have visited untold suffering in Haiti. Ruto says gangs and criminals have no nationality.
They have no religion. They have no language. Their language is one. To deal with them firmly, decisively, within the parameters of the law.
U.S. President Joe Biden saluted Kenya's willingness to assist. The Biden administration had searched extensively for a country to take the lead, but it had ruled out sending in U.S. forces, which have had a long history of intervention in Haiti.
And we're in a situation where we want to do all we can without us looking like America once again is stepping over and deciding this is what must be done.
Ruto says the deployment is a decision by Kenya, not the United States. He says his country wants to advance peace and stability as a responsible global citizen. Biden says the United States will provide intelligence and equipment in hopes of stabilizing its troubled southern neighbor. Asked if the Kenyan deployment can succeed in defeating the gangs that have plunged Haiti into near anarchy, Biden said yes. Thomas I. Likeness, Net 25 World News.
A massive landslide struck a remote area of Papua New Guinea's Enga province early today, burying homes and leaving hundreds feared dead. Now, the disaster occurred around 3 a.m. local time while many villagers were asleep, according to officials. Now, officials report substantial damage to at least 6 villages. Rescue efforts are underway with medics, military, police, and UN personnel deployed to the area. The true scale of the disaster remains unclear, but estimates suggest hundreds may be entombed. Challenges include the remote location and blocked access due to the landslide itself. Aid agencies are on standby and working to reach the affected area to provide first aid, shelter, and other necessities. The cause of the landslide is still under investigation, but heavy rainfall and potential gold mining activity in the area are being considered. Now, this incident comes on the heels of a smaller landslide in the same region earlier this year, raising concerns about vulnerability to such events. Finally, in our news, as the North Atlantic hurricane season approaches, the U.S. NOAA Weather Agency has issued an extraordinary forecast that we need to share with you. Take a look.
Season outlook. NOAA is predicting an above-average 2024 Atlantic hurricane season. Specifically, there's an 85% chance of an above-normal season, a 10% chance of a near-normal season, and a 5% chance of a below-normal season.
Category 3 hurricanes have wind speeds of over 111 miles per hour, causing severe damage to homes, uprooting trees, and often cutting off power and water for days or weeks. NOAA attributes the increase in storms to warm Atlantic Ocean temperatures and the La Nina weather phenomenon in the Pacific.
For the range of storms expected, NOAA calls for the following: 17 to 25 named storms with a top sustained wind of at least 39 miles per hour. Of these, 8 to 13 are forecast to become hurricanes with maximum sustained winds of at least 74 miles per hour. And 4 to 7 are forecast to become major hurricanes, that is category 3 to 5, with maximum sustained winds of at least 111 miles per hour.
The Saffir-Simpson wind scale classifies hurricanes from category 1 with wind speeds of at least 74 miles per hour to category 5 with winds of 157 miles per hour or higher. The North Atlantic hurricane season runs from early June to late November. Oceanic heat in the tropical Atlantic and Caribbean Sea fuels stronger storms, which can be devastating, especially in the U.S. South. Hurricane Ian, which struck Florida in September 2022, caused 152 deaths and $112.9 billion in losses. Scientists have noted exceptional heat build in the Atlantic recently, which also harms coral. La Nina in the Pacific typically leads to a more intense hurricane in the Atlantic, with a 77% chance of La Nina forming between August and October. Astrid Caldas, a senior climate scientist at the Union for Concerned Scientists, said coastal communities must be on guard. And that's it for tonight's broadcast. For everyone here on the Mata ng Agila team, I'm Alma Angeles for Net 25 World News. Have a great weekend, everybody. Good night.